Hello everybody, thank you for being interested in this fourth part of my progressive web app workshop. In this workshop we will develop a new distribution model for our PWA. It is another building block of our journey to an open metaverse. So let us dive in. I call this distribution model, IDSD. I means, independent. We are independent of any distribution channel like an app store because we are not using it at all. Since we are distributing a PWA, we do not have to ask about permission or wait for approval to distribute our creative artwork. D means, decentralized. Decentralized because we are using a decentralized storage network infrastructure which is permissionless. Everyone can opt in to use this network and decide to enhance it. S means, serverless. Serverless because we do not have to set up a node or rent one. We can just use the resources already there. D means, distribution. Well, there is nothing more to explain. I use IDSD for this workshop to give you access to the accompanying PWA. Just scan the QR code and you will have access to the PWA and you can try it out beforehand. If you like it, you can install it on your Android device and place the Sci-Fi toolbox directly into your living room. This workshop goal is to show you how to distribute a PWA without using any centralized app store. We will step into the world of the wonderful IPFS network. IPFS, the Interplanetary File System, is a permissionless, decentralized file storage network. IPFS is developed and supported by the company, Protocol Labs, and has got a large developer and user community. It is part of the open source movement and fits perfectly in our dream of an open metaverse, accessible for everyone. But don't worry, we will not dive deep into the philosophy and technology of the IPFS network. This could fill up another workshop series. We are using our last PWA Babylon JS demo, the Sci-Fi Toolbox PWA as an example application. You can try the PWA with any XR-enabled Android device via the link in the description or by scanning this QR code. It was never easier to distribute. Try and install an mobile application. Let me introduce first the tools to host digital assets, a.k.a. files, on IPFS. If you want to host digital assets on IPFS, you must keep in mind that IPFS is not a conventional centralized cloud storage solution like Amazon AWS, Google Cloud or Microsoft Azure. Data stored on IPFS must be reachable all the time. A node which stores this data must be connected to the IPFS network 24/7. You can run a dedicated IPFS server on your own, but it is much easier to use an IPFS hosting provider which enables 24/7 access to the IPFS network. For this workshop we are using Pinata's cloud service to access the IPFS network. You can freely sign up to Pinata and upload up to 100 digital assets with their free tier plan. Once signed up, you can upload files and directories to IPFS via Pinata's files upload page. Digital assets on IPFS are identified via their Content Identifier, CID. CIDs are unique and identify an immutable digital asset. For this workshop we use two digital assets. First, a folder which incorporates our PWA and, second, a folder which incorporates our Sci-Fi toolbox as a .glb file. You can access digital assets on IPFS in different ways. You can directly interfacing with the IPFS network via an IPFS client embedded in the browser, or a desktop client using a software API, or, the easiest way, via a public IPFS gateway. Since we are using Pinata to upload our files to IPFS, we use their public gateway, too. As an example, you can access the 3D model of the Sci-Fi toolbox via the shown URL. A further advantage using an IPFS gateway to access our digital assets via the Pinata gateway is the fact that we can access the digital assets via the HTTPS protocol. If you have studied our PWA workshop number 1, you know that a PWA needs to be served by a HTTPS server to be able to get installed on a device, and you know that we have to serve XR-related digital assets via HTTPS, too. Unfortunately, we cannot deploy our PWA directly on IPFS without some preparation of the PWA setup. So let us start preparing it. In order to be able to access and install the PWA via the Pinata IPFS gateway, we have to prepare the following points according to the development and production build of the Create React app. First, we have to adjust the loading URL of our 3D model. Second, all URL references of the React environment must be relative to the root installation, because the PWA is now served via the public IPFS gateway. Third, we have to enhance the content security policy of the PWA. And last, we have to adjust a small quirk in the file, asset manifest JSON, of the production build. We want to load our 3D models from IPFS via Pinata's public gateway. Because of that, we have to change the loading URL of Babylon's import mesh function accordingly to get access to the digital asset via its SID. Since the PWA is now hosted via Pinata's IPFS gateway, all URL references of the React environment must be relative to the root installation. We can accomplish this by introducing the homepage statement in the package JSON file. Since the PWA is now hosted under the domain pinata.cloud, we have to enhance the content security policy of the PWA. We are doing this by defining the child src directive at the less than head greater than section of the very first index.html file. We made now every adoption concerning the PWA build with the Create React app application. We can now build a production build with the command yarn build. After the production build of the PWA, we have to correct one small quirk in the resulting file, asset manifest.json. Unfortunately, two absolute path references had been left over. We have to correct them manually. We can now upload the build directory of the Create React app generation to IPFS with Pinata's upload file tool. Finally, we created a method to access our PWA without hosting it at a centralized service or server. We do not have to rent any domain, but of course you can do this, and we do not have to use any app store with their constantly long permission procedures to distribute our PWA. There's only one shortage with this distribution model. We can't restrict the access to our PWA and we can't claim any copyrights to our digital assets. To the rescue comes Web3. The invention of NFT assets provides a solution to these shortages, and we will evaluate these solutions on one of our next workshops. So stay tuned. Thank you for spending your time. Don't forget to subscribe and like if you enjoy this presentation. As always, you can study the whole solution by cloning my GitHub repository, listed in the accompanying description. See you later at my next workshop and take care of you.